Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode, the second episode of Steelheads Weekly. Mark is here, back with me this week. Mark, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I've got my better mic set up for now, so I'm sure all the viewers and listeners can understand me. It doesn't sound like I'm underwater.
Yeah, that's right. And thanks for everyone for the reaction to our first episode was fantastic. So thank you to everyone who watched, listened, commented, especially about Mark's audio. So at least we knew, okay, this is something we got to fix, but it's all good. We're back. We got a pretty jam-packed episode to fit into 30 minutes today. The Steelheads went a little bit opposite on their weekend, kind of, losing the first game and winning the second game, which we thought would be the opposite, but we'll get into that. Some interesting stuff with some trademark filings we'll get into regarding Brampton. And I want to make something crystal clear off the top here at the start of the episode. We're not going to get into any speculation, nothing like that. We're just going to talk about what is in the public domain, the public eye so far. And to move on from that, we're going to get into the top prospects game, which just happened this past Wednesday, stuff like that. So we'll get into it. Mark, I wanted to start with the weekend the Steelheads just had because they played some pretty decent hockey, I think. You weren't at the game against the Flint Firebirds, and then obviously they were away today. But you talked last week that they needed to win, against Flint because Flint is, lesser skilled team. They're lower in the conference than the Steelheads, in the West, that is. And they really needed that win. They didn't get it. They lost in overtime, but they won today. What do you think of the weekend, just at a glance? Because they needed to get back on track, and it helps that they beat the first place team because now it seems like they're only 6 points behind.
I think it's great today that they obviously beat the first place team, but they should have won Friday against Flint. That's a game you should have, but it's also hockey. Any given team could beat anyone. I think it is okay though. They did get 3 points out of 4 on the weekend. So with that win, I believe they jump back into fourth place, 1 point back up on the Oshawa Generals, who probably play later tonight. Normally they play around 6 o'clock.
They're 1 point back of them right now, so they'll stay in fifth, but depending on what Oshawa does tonight, yeah.
Exactly. So right now they'll be 1 point up depending what the Generals will do. But no, I think it's good. They needed this win because they've been like Jekyll and Hyde the last few games. And it's so different from what we saw at the start of the season, as well as Friday. We should mention that Jack Ivankovic came back from his injury.
Yep.
So that's not too bad, I guess, for his first game back. But he played well. But from what I saw in the highlights, it's still unacceptable to lose to the Flint Firebirds.
Yeah, and they had a great opportunity just to get back to the game on Friday against Flint. They had a great opportunity to end it in overtime. I'm usually I take the stance that, they shouldn't have even been in overtime. You should probably close out that game. But nonetheless, they were there. Ivan Kovic, like you said, came back from injury. He looked fantastic just watching him live. He looked very sharp, like he did not miss a step. He made some big saves. It could have been Flint's game earlier. Could have been, they could have ran away with it, and he made some big saves. So he looked great coming back from injury, which is a really good sign because they'll have to rely on him a little bit down the stretch here as well. Linder's doing his thing again, which has been great. But before we move on from Friday, just disappointing. I think you should probably, in the OHL, you have to win games like that just to stay on track, especially where they are. They're kind of sputtering, like you said. But they're in a fine position still. They're only 6 points back of first place. So they can, still climb the ladder. You want home ice advantage for the playoffs. You want to finish in that top 4, especially where you are right now. So it should be interesting.
It should be, and as well, because you don't want to, they're on a big road trip coming up this week. I believe they're going up north. I believe they'll be in, they will be in Thursday. They're back on the ice. So Thursday they are playing the North Bay Battalion again. Then you play the Sioux Greyhound on Friday, and then you play Sudbury on Sunday, and then you're home. You're away against Peterborough. So basically, they're on the road for, counting today would be a 5-game road trip. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, sorry, 5-game road trips. Yeah, checking my math there. Got to fix the OHL up, guys. Make blue home and gray away. So they'll be on a 5-game road trip, and they need to And they started off on the right foot actually, so it's good.
It's good, yeah. So we can get into that too, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously beating Brantford, a lot of people go, automatic loss or all that, the
Yes.
very pessimistic way of looking at it. But they played really well, and you get goals from guys that you don't really usually rely on for goals. I mean, like Boudreaux scored today. He opened the scoring. That's huge just
Yep.
to get the guys on the board. Fibiger scored today. That's really nice to see. Um,
Eggleston scored too, which was nice.
yeah,
So they've got a
really
lot
nice
of
to
depth
see him.
scoring.
Depth scoring, right? That's exactly it. So the depth scoring showed up for them. Leanders, has a good game. That's the recipe for success down the stretch, right? You're gonna have to rely on the big boys, but you need depth scoring at the same time to pull you out of holes and get you wins like they did today, right? So nice to see.
Mhm.
What do you think about that as well? Like,
Well, I think it's great because like you said, we've seen all the games that we've seen, or most of the games we've seen or we've watched. It's all the big guys scoring. And, like we've talked about how they need depth and they don't have it, or they do have it, but it's like they rarely do anything. So at least it shows now. It's a good way to kick off this road trip of having your depth guys score and see who you could rely on in the next coming of games, especially against a good team in North Bay. So let's see where it can go from here on out and see what they can continue.
well, like you said, they're going on that trip. Like after today's win, big win, 5-3 in Brantford. They go on that trip, and you're playing two out of the, in your own conference at least, you're playing two of the best teams, the second and third seed. Those are, they're winnable games. You should go in, try and get as many points as possible, and you can really help yourself climb because those are the teams you're chasing. And if you beat them, they don't get points. So, it's
Right.
basic math. It's nice. We were giving some shout outs to players, like individual players last week. And I just have to say, I want to give some love to Jack Van Volsen today. He scored a really nice goal in this game today. We're recording Sunday afternoon, I guess, if you couldn't figure it out by now. But yeah, just NHL draft prospect coming up for this year's 2024 draft. At the beginning of the season, it was looking like he wasn't really figuring it out. It looked like the Owen Beck trade wasn't, going to work out in the Steelheads' favor. But as the season's gone on, especially recently, he's gotten a little bit hot. And he's
Yeah.
starting to score. He's starting to get involved in more plays. You can see it watching live compared to just a couple months ago. So that's good to see. I just wanted to give him about a bit of a shout out. Looks like he's, starting to find his confidence again. He's like, again, today's goal was really nice, right over the
Yep.
shoulder, lots of
Yeah.
confidence. So
1 goal, 2 assists today as well.
yeah, so he's
Plus 3 for plus minus, by the way.
yeah. You know what? We should bring up like plus minus stats every week, just like random plus minus. Like it's not a real stat, but let's just do it.
Yeah, it's not a real stat, but we'll just go with it. And like he's done pretty well this year in 40 games. He's already he's going to eclipse his point total of 25. He's already at 20 in 40 games.
Yeah,
So that's a good step to achieve for him, and he can kind of build off of that going in from this year into next year.
definitely.
So, and he's a big boy, so park him in front of the net, Richmond, and see what happens.
To Van Volsen, like if they could try to put him maybe on the power play, like you mentioned, or something else just to get him going even more, I think that would only help him more. But yeah, like you said, great season so far for him, and he's picked it up recently. Not so great to start, but most of the points have come recently, which is a good sign. You want to heat up going into the playoffs, right? So
Exactly. You can take all you can get, especially from bottom six guys, and especially in the playoffs, because that's where it all matters.
exactly. So good to see. To move on to the next topic, would be the top prospects game. Happens every year. It's really nice to see all the top prospects showcased every year. In one city across the CHL. I covered one year. It was a lot of fun. And we had two Steelheads in it this year. We had Luke Misa and Ryerson Leanders, of course. Two of the, probably going to go pretty high in this year's draft, the first couple rounds, which is really nice for Mississauga fans. But I just wanted to bring up NHL Central Scouting's, a quote on Ryerson Leanders. He is very good positionally, with excellent butterfly coverage and plays a lot with lots of confidence. A very competitive goalie who is smart at reading and reacting to situations, which is true. There's a great video feature on him as well that plays in the arena, and the Steelheads have put it out on socials, where he says he kind of mimics Marc-Andre Fleury. And once he brought that up, I was like, oh, wow, that is true. plays very similarly, and just a great goalie. So congrats to him. Made a huge save in the game as well. So just wanted to bring that up. And Mark, what did you think of Leenders? And I know you have something on Misa as well.
Yeah, so that save he made, I believe it was in the second or third period. I'm trying to remember now.
I think it was the second
But
period, but yeah.
that save he made was incredible. So as that he made the TSN highlights. I guess he gave us the TSN turning point.
Yeah.
But no, that was it was a really good save. He played well. Hopefully he can build off of that game as a big confidence builder, and he could like shut the door for Mississauga for the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as well as like it's getting him noticed, which is nice because you need that in a goalie, so teams can start taking notice on him, and they can kind of maybe build around him for their future in that. So yeah, if you play strong, it'll pay off in the end. So hopefully this will pay off for him as his journey to the NHL continues in the future.
Yeah, it's great. He is going to be a great goalie. He is going to be
Fantastic.
Yeah, like I can't wait to see where his career takes him in the NHL. He is the Steelheads have had a lot of great goalies and a lot of successful goalies, like even Spencer Martin. I mean, it took him a while to blossom in the NHL, but he's there now, right?
Yeah.
And numerous guys along the way. Jacob Ingham's doing it as well. But Ryerson Leenders is going to be one of those guys as well. Like he's going to be. I'm excited to follow where his career goes. But for the time being, he's a Steelhead, and that's a good thing. So.
Exactly. He's been their best goalie for years, I'd say, since Ingham.
Probably since Ingham, yeah. No,
Maybe,
I totally agree.
Like homegrown drafted, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count Mancini from 2017 because he was via trade.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's nice that they could finally have a goalie they'll build around. Same with Evan Kovic, they'll build around these two guys, and you'll have a good 1-2 punch down the line for his.
I think that's what's so exciting if you're a Steelheads fan too, right? Like, and the team, if you're a player on the team. Like you got two really good goalies back to back. And when Leenders is ready to move on, Ivan Kovic is younger. He'll probably still be around. So they really did a good job at shoring up the goaltending position this time around these next few years. So credit where credit's due to JR. That's great. And the scouting, of course. And to get into Misa as well. You had something on Misa you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, no. Josh Anaselmo from the Inside the Rink actually did a piece on him talking about the top prospects game, and he made a good point here of Misa saying that he has speed and tenacity, which he does bring to a lot of games, and you notice him on the ice a lot. He had no points from what we saw, but it's good because he's one of Mississauga's leading point getters. As well, like him and Martone have been carrying this team on offense. I'm sure you could agree on that from what we've all seen. Because
the numbers don't lie, Mark.
The numbers don't lie, except maybe a plus minus. That'll lie on there. But no, Josh mentioned in an article here that he has great offensive vision, and it does because you see him on the ice. He's more of a playmaker than he is a shooter. So I think that'll carry. It'll make him better while his career goes on, and let's hope it can get him in like the first round because I believe he's on the bubble of first round, second round, maybe, even later. So yeah, no, we'll see what he can continue to do and bring Mississauga as far and he and the other guys can.
Yeah, and I think where he's ranked right now, like where you said, he's bubble first round, second round, kind of bouncing around there. Could drop, he could go higher. I think playoffs will have a big impact on that, what he does in the playoffs for the Steelheads and how far they go. Recency bias is a hell of a drug. So I think whatever they do down the stretch here, especially in the playoffs, or what he does more specifically, will really dictate where he goes. I think Leenders is pretty much... Goalies are weird, right? Like gone are the days of goalies going in the first round, I think. Depending, right?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think Spencer Knight to Florida was probably the last one. I could be wrong, but last notable one at least. But I think Misa has a chance here to really pump up his draft stock going into the playoffs, which is exciting. One last thing on the top prospects. I don't know if you saw this, but they're changing the format for the first time
I heard
ever.
It's something different.
Yeah, so Jeff Merrick said this week, just pulling it up here, It sounds like last night's CHL. This is from Thursday, January 25th. Wednesday. The CHL top prospects game will be the final one. Look for the event to be replaced with a 2-game series between the best prospects in the CHL and the best prospects in the US, which, I've always loved the top prospect game. I think it's a great idea. You bring in all your prospects from all 3 leagues across the CHL, you split them in half, play a game, whatever. But I think having a series and having it be essentially Canada versus the US is way better. I think that's more exciting. It's awesome. I don't know. Obviously, I think you agree, but how do you feel about that?
It's something different because it's been the same for the last
I think it's been going over 20 years, probably.
20 years because it was Team Cherry versus Team Orr.
Forever, yeah.
Then they changed it Team Cherry versus Team someone else, I believe, after they stopped using Bobby Orr. Then after they just changed it to Team Red versus Team White.
Yep.
No, it's incredible. It's good. You want to change it up a bit. I think maybe they could do 1 year Canada versus the US and then do North America versus Europe.
Yeah, I think they have an opportunity to do many different things. They can make it. I think we're also starved for international stuff.
Yeah.
Because the Olympics doesn't happen anymore, and there's a lot going on with that. But I agree. I think that'd be cool if they could bring in top prospects from Europe versus North America or something like that, right? But even before it's just Canada, and I felt like it was too buddy at times where everyone's friends and they're just out there and they're not really trying. But I think if you introduce stakes literally US versus Canada, top prospects, who's better, I feel like there will be more top prospects trying, not saying that they don't try, but you know what I mean. I feel like there's something to it, right?
Yeah, maybe in the future they could team with the NCAA.
Yeah, who knows, right? There's
ooh, that would be fun.
Open a forbidden door perhaps, but we'll see how that plays out and all that. But I thought that was interesting. I'm all for change. If it makes sense and it's something new and refreshing, that'll bring more viewers. I think that does this. And it's not just one game to showcase. It's a 2-game thing. Maybe they'll do aggregate, they do in soccer, the MLS or whatnot. I think that would be cool if they did something like that. So who knows?
They did a little summit series, a 7-game series.
I think that'd be a little much, but
a little much.
It'd be fun.
Maybe hey, a 3-game set and best 2 out of 3.
I agree. If they were to do 3 games, I think that'd be, or not even 3 games, just best out of 2 out of 3, right? If you win 2 games, it's over. But hey, could be fun, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're all for fun. Yeah, changes, like I said, changes is good if it's done correctly and for the right reasons and all that, right?
100%.
But that's good. But nice to see some Steelheads getting some notable mentions this week, in the mainstream media and having a good showing. Like I said, Leander's popped up on my feed right away with that huge save of the top prospect, so that's been great. He's been great for the team, so can't say enough good things about him, honestly. He's been a very good bright spot on the Steelheads team this year.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. Now we got to move on to something that I honestly is always a topic of conversation in Mississauga, in the OHL circles, whomever you talk to in junior hockey. Always a topic of conversation is relocation in Mississauga, right? And I mean, the past is the past. We know the stories. The Ice Dogs came in. They didn't have a great tenure there. I mean, you might know better than me. I think they won 4 games in their first 2 years.
They won 4 games in their first 2 years. At least 4 or 7, one of the two.
Okay.
I know it's a little off,
but
they didn't
win
a lot.
Yeah, and I think it was the first or second year. I can't remember. I was looking at the stats. They didn't win at home the entire year, so that doesn't help your case either. So I feel like the interest kind of, by the time 2001, 2002 is rolling around, the interest is kind of, not there.
It was still there, but not really. They were still top 10 in the league in attendance.
Yep.
Like I said, we'll move off of that. They were in the top 5 in attendance from 98, 99 till 2005.
Right. They were still in
the top 5.
Top 50% of the league, which I know is only 20 teams.
Which is good, and then
which is good.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then you move. They make an OHL final. There's interest there, right? I remember that year specifically. People were talking about the Ice Dogs.
Guelph.
I got swept by Guelph, but people are talking about the Ice Dogs. I'm going to the Ice Dog game, right? And I never remember hearing that before. And then
the lockout hit.
Then the lockout hit, right? And then you have the sale to the Niagara group. The Ice Dogs then move on to Niagara region. The that whole thing, they're gone, right? And then right away, I'm trying to break this down so people understand the entire history and how things move, right? Right away after that, they want a team in Mississauga again. Eugene Melnick, who was the owner of the Senators, he decides he wants to bring the Toronto St. Michael's Majors into Mississauga, and he does just that. But what's the problem with that, Mark, at that time?
The problem with having Toronto come into Mississauga was that it was their rival. It's their rival team. Ice Hockey fans were not too pleased by that, so it was difficult for them, understandably, to cheer for a rival team. That's like saying at the time when Brampton and Mississauga the rival. That's like saying the Battalion are going to move over to Mississauga. You don't want to cheer for rivals.
No.
Now, for me as a kid, I was 11 years old. To me, to me and my dad, it didn't matter. Like whatever, was still boy hockey, would cheer. But as an adult, I could see why now it would cause a rift between fan base. So that's a hard thing to kind of comprehend, being a fan. So it's understandable why Ice Dog fans left as well with the team to support them in Niagara.
And I know many that did and still do to this day, and they live in Mississauga and they still cheer for the Ice Dogs, right?
Yeah, and that's fantastic. Now there's another world out there where the Ice Dogs stayed in Mississauga. They're still here. What would it be like? That's one thing. It's like a what if. I'd like to know what if they were to stay.
Right.
But we'll never know.
What's the dynamics of that? But we'll never know, right?
We'll never know. You got the Majors coming in. They did okay in attendance, but not as good as the Ice Dogs did. As we know, attendance struggled for the Memorial Cup 2011 season. They didn't come in last, but they were definitely in the top 5 at the bottom, I'd say. So it was kind of hard during that Memorial Cup because they felt like the away team, even on home ice. That was hard.
I think there was something just to mention too at the time that to get Memorial Cup tickets, you had to purchase season tickets. I remember that being a big thing if you wanted to buy them early. And a lot of people didn't like that because they're like, I just want to go to the event. I don't want to pay for seasons tickets next year. So there was a whole debacle about that too. A lot of inconvenience.
Definitely Eugene Melnick move.
Well, yeah. He did a lot of things with the Senators too, and obviously he ran both teams, so you could see the similarities, right, at the time.
Yeah, and you are right. It does cause stuff. It's like, well, what I don't want to go watch, like a team that I don't know play another team that I don't really follow. And then as we know, they lost next season to the Majors. After that, team sells and.
So we'll pick it up there. I think it was 2012, I believe, going into the 2012-2013 season. Elliot Kerr purchases the team, renames them, and I think this was excellent because they're renamed the Steelheads. Obviously, they had the whole rename the team vote in the Mississauga News. I'm pretty sure at the time.
Yes.
Hurricanes were in there for Hazel. Lakers were in there. There were Steelheads. Steelheads wins. Obviously, we're here now. We know that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great because finally you have a team here again with its own identity, and it's not stapled to Toronto. It's not the St. Michael's Majors name. It's refreshed, and it's like, okay, this is Mississauga's team, right? This is new, and I thought that was great. Throughout the years, they bring in, obviously they had great teams as you go through the years, right? They bring in guys like Alex Nylander, and you look at the attendance, the numbers don't lie. The attendance was steadily growing. I would say between probably when I started covering them, 2015, 16, I guess the Nylander year, and then all the way up to right before COVID, the attendance probably till 18, 19 was steadily growing. I thought, right? They were doing pretty good numbers. And again, if you think I'm lying, I'm not saying they're shifting up the chart of the league. I'm just saying if you're comparing to themselves, to the teams, to the team itself, the Steelheads, the attendance was growing. They were doing better, right?
They were doing better. And that building fits 5,000 people. If you could pack at least 3,000, 3,500 a game, it's good.
You're making some noise. Yeah, you got some backing for the team, right? And I think that's a huge thing too. So, I moved to, and I fast forward to 2018 to get into this story and to get into what happened this week. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, I don't really want to speculate. I'll get your thoughts, Mark, and I'll get your feelings on everything. But I don't want to speculate anything. This happened. This is what's in the public eye, and you can go search it on Google, whatever you want if you want, right? It's out there, and I'm not going to speculate anything that's happening until actual news comes out, right? I'm not going to be the one to do that. So, where was I? Sorry. 2018, they didn't have a lease. There was a lot of speculation about, will the team stay? Won't they stay? There was nothing happening. There was no conversation in the public eye, right? Nobody knew anything. Turns out they ended up signing a 5-year lease. A lot of people were happy. Season ticket holders were happy. The team is staying for 5 years. This is fantastic news, right? I was really happy because, when you throw question marks and things out in the air, it's,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to lose the team. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. It would suck.
It would suck, yeah. And for someone like yourself, like you've been watching since the Ice Dog days, you want to see the team stay and succeed.
Exactly. And it gives you something to do to watch on weekends. You
Yeah.
go take a friend, take family, whatever. Go watch. Why not? It's fun hockey.
Exactly. And it's always a good product. That's what I say. Like sometimes it's almost better than the NHL because of just like how close it feels. The community, right? You can meet the players after the game if you want. There's just a lot there that I don't know if the higher levels offer, especially for kids. Like I think for kids and, kids who are playing hockey, it's almost a better experience. But anyway, so they signed the 5-year lease. That takes us to this summer. I guess this summer coming up. And now I want to get into that this week I have to give credit. Ben Leipka. Hope I said it right. He is a reporter out of Abbotsford in BC. He tweeted out trademark news. A new design trademark has been filed for the Brampton Steelheads. And he goes on to say, just quickly, the Steelheads have operated in Mississauga since 2012 when they renamed the team. And Brampton formerly had teams in the ECHL, which folded because of COVID. We know the whole story behind that. And in the OHL, and obviously we know the story behind that. 2013, they relocated to North Bay. Anyway, I say all that to say the picture he tweeted, and it's not just the picture that he tweeted, because anyone can Photoshop that, right? But it's the link. It's a link to a trademark filing with the Brampton Steelheads logo. You can see it in the public, right? It is, you can search up any trademark on that website and you can see anything in Canada, right? That's been trademarked. So there's been a trademark filed for Brampton Steelheads. It's the same Steelheads logo we know with the Brampton wording instead of Mississauga. So again, we're not here to speculate anything. If this were true, I would imagine that they would be playing out of the CAA Center in Brampton, which is literally 10 minutes up the road on the same street that the Paramount Fine Food Center is. So Mark, just to get your thoughts, I mean, we'll wrap it up shortly after this because honestly, there's not much there. We don't have any other information that is public other than complete speculation and the fact that this trademark's been filed.
Right. And like I said, again, this isn't what we're making up. It's what we found and what's been tweeted out.
Exactly. And I mean, even Sports Logo tweeted out, and obviously everyone's just saying the same things. It's a 10-minute drive. It's
exactly
whatever the building is. Everyone, it's just the same stuff over and over.
Yeah. My quick thoughts on it are, it sucks they're gonna leave. Like, I mean, if they do leave, it sucks that they're leaving Paramount. It happens. But on a positive note, they're going to Brampton, 10 minutes down the street. Perfect. Still a nice drive, and that arena, why not get that arena in? Let me repeat this. It's just like get that arena lively. It's just sitting there, so it's good that they could have a team, again, and fans can go watch. And I think it's a lot better because it'll just be their rink. They won't have to share it. They don't have to worry about any of that. And same team, just with Brampton on it.
Yeah. And, well, they would have to share it, assuming, I would just bring this up, that there is the Canadian Elite, I think it's called, basketball league that plays out of that building, so they would have to share it. I have no idea what their schedule looks like or anything about that, I'm going to be honest. They do use that building. But anyway, the building hosted the Women's World Championships. Again, this is all speculation. We have no idea if that's for sure what's happening or the plan, anything like that. It's certainly interesting that dropped. And I honestly woke up to that tweet a couple days ago, and people like to make memes and stuff. it could obviously be Photoshop, but there is the trademark filing link there, so you can see
Right.
it.
And if it is true, it's good for people in Brampton. Maybe they used to watch the battalion. They
Yep.
want to come back out.
That's
You have
right.
a team again. So
Yeah.
it's good for everybody.
And I think, like you mentioned too, just to get back to that, it is, a lot of people forget, and I think people who don't live here would hear, okay, relocation and a different city and go, whoa, that's crazy. But the reality is, it's a 10-minute drive from where they currently play this season, right? So if you are somebody who, always goes to games or a season ticket holder, the saving grace in this, if this were to happen, is that you're just extending your drive by 10 minutes. It's down the street. It's down the street. So there are definitely positives to pull out of this.
Exactly. And it's not a bad rink. So.
It isn't a bad rink either, no. And I think I just mentioned a few minutes ago, they hosted the Women's World Championships last, I think it was fall. When was it? Summer? I can't remember.
Last year.
It was last year, yeah. And it was fantastic. Everybody had nothing but good things to say about the venue and the tournament itself. So, it's a great rink too, right? And
exactly.
it was built at the same time for the same expansion that Paramount Fine Food Center, at the time Hershey Center, was built. So
exactly. So let's see what happens.
We will see what happens, and we'll keep tabs on everything, right?
We'll keep tabs on it
as things happen.
Exactly. And right now, this is the first and last time we'll cover it until whatever comes out.
Yeah. I think it's honestly, like, if you, like, you can talk about it. People have been talking about it for years. It's beating a dead horse at this point until something is concrete and they come out and they say, hey, this is happening. Then, if something like this comes out, we'll be like, hey, look at this, right? But until anything concrete is said, then it's the same conversation that's been happening for 20 years, right?
Exactly.
So yeah. And
that's it.
That's all it is. So I guess we'll wrap it up there. But for now, and the Steelheads are here. They're playing at Paramount Fine Food Center. They have a good team. They're in the playoff race, and I think that's exciting. They have good players. This is a good team.
Right.
I think they're playing a little bit under what their, I don't want to say ceiling, but their potential is, right?
Right.
So should be good still, and I think there's lots of hockey to enjoy yet.
Exactly. There's a lot to watch and enjoy and bring the family out. Heck, they have packs at Home Depot.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the Costco thing actually?
Yeah, it's
They're in
Home
Costco
Depot
now.
and Costco. There's a both.
Yeah.
I think it's one or the other. Either or, it could be both. But yeah.
It is definitely Costco. They have like a 4-pack, the family 4-pack that they've always
My
had.
mistake. Right? You're right. It is Costco. For some reason I got mixed up with Home Depot. It's Costco.
You know why you're thinking Home Depot? Because to go back to the old days, or a few years ago or whatever, they used to have cardboard cutouts of the guys in Home Depot and Canadian Tire. I'm pretty sure.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. So that might be what you're thinking of. There was like cardboard cutouts with schedules and little things and pamphlets and all that.
I miss the little pocket schedules.
Yeah. It's weird, right? Because I feel like I would enjoy one of those, but everything's all digital now, so it's like just scan the
Bring
QR
a pocket
code.
schedule, have a magnet. Remember the magnets for the fridge? Bring those back.
The schedule.
Bring those back. We're advocating it. So.
Bring back the magnet schedules, please.
Yes, please.
Do that now, immediately. Immediately, we need it. Yeah. No, I do remember those. I had those for I think it was the Steelheads first season. They did it.
I still have my last Ice Dog one. It's in my hockey card binder.
Why isn't it on your fridge, Mark? Where it should be, as a magnet should be.
Well, it's actually not a magnet. It's the pocket one.
That would be kind of weird, though. Like, every day you kind of, like, go to your fridge and you're like, oh, look, the schedule from 24 years ago.
Yeah, it's like 2004. All right.
But anyway, I think we'll wrap it there, Mark. We'll be back next week, as always, to cover the Steelheads. Should be exciting down the stretch. And like you said, big road trip next week. So we'll preview all of that next week once we get there. But anything you want to say before we go?
Oh, nothing. Just I hope they have a good trip. They need it. Get away from the city. Play some games up north and try to secure the next 4 games.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, if they come away with, 8 points, that'd be fantastic. But, at least 6 would be nice, right?
Yeah.
Some tough opponents there. Tough opponents.
Exactly.
So.
Play hard.
Just play your game. Play your game. Play hard. Yeah. That's all you can ask, right? But anyway, we thank you everyone for watching and listening this week. And the response on our first video and audio podcast was fantastic. So thank you for that. And we'll be back next week.
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.